this is the way to reach out to someone. And I won't read the entire message because it's rather long, which is the only thing I can say about this would be the downside. It's 4 paragraphs long. Each paragraph's about 3 sentences. So that's a bit too long for initial outreach. Should be about 2 paragraphs, maybe like 3 sentences, 4 sentences most each paragraph. Yeah. But here it is. Howdy, Joe. So clearly, you know they're from Texas. Howdy, Joe. I recently listened to your Bigger Pockets podcast and started listening to your podcast on YouTube every day when I cook. That's very specific. That's great. I just wanted to reach out and hope we can get in touch. I currently live in blah, blah, blah. Actually, it's relevant. In Arlington, between Fort Worth and Dallas. So I was interested in hearing about your investments within the area. Here's the kicker, though. This is where it gets good. I am sure you have many people in your area that report to you, but I would be willing and would love to help you if you ever need any type of service on your properties in the area. I work as a leasing agent somewhere. I'm not telling where that is. So I have experience in knowing what people want when they are looking for a new home and have a good feel for the market and terminology for multifamily. That immediately could be very valuable for me, but he keeps going. I am young, motivated, and willing to learn. I currently own a house that I am house hacking and I close on my second house at the end of the month, but I realize that multifamily is the way to go. And then he ends it with more add value. Again, I would love to provide any service that would be helpful for you within the area, whether it is secret shopping your communities, taking pictures of possible investments for you, shopping your competition, getting there when a contract's working on your project, getting rid of trash left by a contractor. I mean, he's getting very specific, or even cutting your grass at the property. I would be grateful just to be involved. Let me know if I can help, and I would love to keep in contact. He gave some specific way. Number one, he mentioned how he was qualified to help out. He's local, so he has a competitive advantage for other people. But then 2, he is a leasing agent, so he knows how it works with apartment communities. And he got as granular as saying he will cut the grass. Now, there's no way in hell I'd let him cut the grass for liability reasons, but it's good that he gave that specific example. And so what I did, I responded and I said, wow, this really stood out, because I got a bunch of messages, especially after the Bigger Pockets podcast. I said, reach out to me on June. I picked some arbitrary date, June the 7th, which was about 3.5 weeks later. And sure enough, he reached out to me on that day, June the 7th. So I was testing him to see if this was just a momentary interest of his, or if he was organized enough to then put in his calendar, make it a priority to reach out 3 weeks to the day exactly. He did, and what has evolved since then, it's only been about a month, what has evolved since then is that he has secret shopped my properties in DFW, and he did a analysis of each of the properties and his experience as a potential renter at each of them. And we're using that to enhance our leasing skills at each of the properties. And he wrote about his experience online for an online review as well, which is incredibly helpful for us to get more online reviews. That is one business challenge we continue to have, is getting more online views or online reviews for each of our properties. And I'm going to stay in touch with him. He also mailed me marketing materials for each of the properties so I can put on my inspiration wall that's right behind us, behind this big old best ever banner. So it was stuff that I needed done, and he did it, and I am incredibly loyal to the people who are with me along the way, and he likely will be one of them as we continue to build our relationship. So that is a phenomenal way to do it.
And if you're going to look at all 3 of them, just the initial reaching out, I mean, it probably took the same amount of time for all 3 of them to actually write up that message and send it out, but the outcomes are completely different. So
yeah, so some ways that people can do this type of outreach and achieve similar success regardless of background is, what is your skill set? What do you have to offer other people? And then how does that match up with what that person who you're reaching out to needs? And then specifically offer that up. It's probably the same amount of work, but it is more thought that goes. It's much more thoughtful than, hey, the second one, the gentleman said, if there's ever anything I can do to be assistance to you, please. I don't know what you can do to be assistance to me, because I don't know what your skill set is and how that maps to what I need. So just doing a little bit more research, and it goes back to that passage that I read in the 48 Laws of Power, where you've got to be inside the mind of the person you're reaching out to and offer what they need. And then when you do that, everything will eventually come to you.